had stepped out onto West Street, wondering what could have happened to cause this mess. The ash and the fire trucks twisted up like toys. I went back towards the building where there was a fireman, and I walked up to the fellow and I said, hey, there's a body over here. He looked at me with the look that I sensed, hey, why is he looking at me like I have two heads, like I'm crazy? Why is he giving me this look? And he said, just go on. And I realized there were actually bodies and people scattered all over the place. And you couldn't see what the scene was like because everything was covered with ash.
Cones of bodies. Cones of bodies. Cones of bodies. Cones of bodies.
2,749 people died in the Twin Towers that morning, including Melanie DeVere, Christine Olander, and more than 170 delegates, diners, and staff at Windows on the World. Elaine Gentile and 95 of her colleagues at Fiduciary Trust, including Ed Emery. And 84 men and women who work for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey.
The people that I knew at the Port Authority, Jerry Guggen, Bill Jones, Tommy, Claro, and Margie, and all these people, they've just, just like... It was just like there was a big family.
Are you going to be okay?
In the North Tower, Frank DiMartini and Pablo Ortiz both gave their lives. They were still helping people escape when the building collapsed.
Well, I think for me, there still is this burning, hole that you don't really know what happened. And of course I would like to know more about, what was happening, and I know he'd love to tell it.
He would be so sad to see them fall, and saving as many people as he did, that it was somehow fitting that he went up into the air with the buildings.
Along with Mac Hanna, who escaped helping an 89-year-old colleague from the Port Authority, Pablo and Frank saved the lives of more than 50 people. Among them, Rick Bryan and the 22 people trapped on the 89th floor, including receptionist Diane DeFontes.
Pablo's wife put up a website, and her children were on it, and I sent her an email, and I told her, I tried to tell her how I felt, and that her husband and their father is the reason that I'm alive, and I know that his absence is a terrible thing. But here is a man that you can be proud of because he saved other people's lives.
Stanley Prangnath and Brian Clark both survived. 61 people from Brian's company, Eurobrokers, lost their lives. 23 from Stanley's. Victor Wald and Harry Ramos were both killed in the collapse of the North Tower.
We got a picture of Harry Ramos. It was a brilliant picture. It was a very sharp picture with a Rolex watch. And I said to my children, well, Victor didn't die by himself. An angel came and took him, and Harry was his angel.
Harry was the only person from his company, May Davis, who did not survive.
And Hung, he helped to the fullest, and he made a decision he had to leave. And I think that was a better decision to make because he thought that, he had to think of himself at some point. And he tried to help a man, but if Victor couldn't help himself at a point, he analyzed the situation, he made the decision he had to go. He probably feels bad about it, but he made the correct decision.
The 5 people trapped in Elevator 41 all escaped, including Al Smith and Yam Dempscher.
Can't imagine. I'm short and he's tall.
I hear Battalion 1-8 to ladder 6, Battalion 1-8 to ladder 6. Is that you on the radio? I said, yeah, it's me. Rescue 3 to ladder 6, Captain J. Jonas. This is Cliff. I'm coming for you, brother. I'm coming for you. And that was the first, it choked me up. It's the first time in my career where I had become the person in need of rescue instead of the person coming to do the rescue.
It would take over 5 hours before Jay Jonas and the 13 people trapped with him would finally be rescued. They owe their lives to an extraordinary twist of fate.
Once the collapse reached our area, it kind of ran out of energy because the pile itself was about 6 to 7 stories tall, the debris pile. And we were in that 2-story cocoon. If you were lower than that, the debris settled there and you didn't make it. If you were above that, you were part of the kinetic energy of the collapse and you didn't make it. So you really had to be where we were.
Over there you can see a police emergency service unit. They're trying basically now to reestablish some kind of a safe perimeter. And many of the emergency workers basically just happy to be alive. Certainly that picture tells it all. Many of them just happy to be alive at this point, having survived what is an extraordinary event, the collapse of 2 towers.
In all, 412 rescue workers died in the World Trade Center, including 343 firemen.
Josephine, is that you?
It ends up I did make the right decisions that day, but I didn't know they were the right decisions at the time. Running into Josephine Harris, making this decision to stop and save her, we had inadvertently saved ourselves.
And I looked around, and it was just this disarray. And I said, this is it? And he says, yeah, this is what's left. And I said, how many other people have come out of there? And he said, none. And I was just stunned. Don't push it under the rug. Don't forget it, because it can happen again. And I believe that they are going to try again. It won't be tomorrow, it won't be next year, but they're coming back.
It was a day when we didn't think that it could happen to us, when we thought we were too big and too strong and mighty. It's a constant reminder of what can happen again. So we need to remember September 11. Not the tragedy that happened, but the lesson that to be learned. We need to keep it alive, because it can happen again.
Well, these are the pants that I was wearing on that day. And I made it my project. I guess it kept me a little from really going completely out of my mind. I made it my project to wash them by hand, and every day I would wash them a little more and hang them up to dry, and then I'd see some more dirt, and I'd put more soap, and then I'd scrub the legs, because I just had to get them clean. It was like washing away, it may sound silly, but washing away the dirt and evil and the bad, and just getting it out, and I did. And unfortunately they don't fit anymore, but they're clean.